Who am I beyond the music? My actual name is Rickson Satiro Silva, or Hickson, depending on where you're from. But beyond the music, man, I'm just a kid with a dream, with a passion for creating music, also creating other things. I look at what I do as digital media, right? We in the modern social media era, so we doing a little bit of everything. I also produce, engineer, all these things. So that's who I am, man. Just a guy with a dream, bruh. Here to leave my mark on the world. Yeah, that's who I am.
What part of yourself did you have to protect to become who you are now?
What part of myself did I have to protect to become who I am now? So let me take you back to when I really started this, right? I was about 15, 16, somewhere in the high school years. And I remember my brother, he was getting married and he wanted me to be his best man. He gave me that honor. And at this time, I remember I started writing a speech because that's what you're supposed to do, right? And I was in school, not paying attention to class. And I remember writing it. And like there was this girl who sat next to me in my class. And I was like, oh, what do you think of this? You know, and she was like, yeah, it's cool, whatever. I don't remember what she said. She probably was like, well, I don't know what he's talking about, right? But I was trying to make it funny, entertaining. And mind you, I was not a socially confident person at this time in my life. So it was really nerve wracking for me, but I practiced, and man, I nailed it, right? I killed it. When I made everybody laugh, I connected with all my family and everybody that was there, and it was pretty cool. And for the first time in my life, I was like, interesting. I like this writing words and going in front of people and speaking the words thing, right? Like that was the first time I ever did that. And it kind of opened Pandora's box. At the same time in my life, I was listening to a lot of lyrical rap music, mainly like J. Cole, The Warm Up, and Friday Night Lights, and Kendrick Lamar, OD, and Kendrick Lamar EP, and stuff like that. This was what I was into at the moment. I wasn't really super into like very, music about women or music about partying and stuff like that. It was a time in my life where I was going through a lot of things, as anybody during that age would, and just things that I went through in my personal life that made me like really connect with what these guys were saying. And it pulled me in. And I remember I was having an insomniac type of night where I couldn't really sleep, which was happened a lot during this time of my life. And even now, I still sometimes catch myself up longer than I should be. And I was writing, like, just something came to me, the spirit. I started writing. And I remember like rapping it in my head or rapping out loud in my bed or reading it. I don't really remember too clearly even what I wrote, but I remember looking back and reading back on it and being like, yo, I did that? Like, I made that? That's crazy. I was like, there's no way. And that was the first spark. If I go back, I recorded years. I used to jerk, jerk dance. So I was making beats and stuff. And I had a friend who his uncle was a DJ. So we recorded like a song for fun. I used to skateboard. So I made a song about skateboarding with Eazy-E, like an Eazy-E remix, It was like cruising down the street in my skateboard, there's something about skating. But this was the time where I really connected with like lyricism and writing and using my voice. And one thing led to another. One thing led to another. I find out, I got to make beats and record and engineer and mix and do this and do that. And, you go down, you go down the tunnel, and next thing you know, you in this whole new world that you never knew existed. I grew up in a martial arts family, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's my family trade. So I knew nothing about music, didn't have friends, The closest thing was, like I said, my friend's uncle who was a DJ that I ever got to anybody that created music. He used to have like crates and vinyl and stuff. And man, that's where it all started. Like that was the click where I was like, oh yeah, this is it. And that was what I had to protect to become who I am now. It was like to protect my dream, because in my mind, I remember I didn't tell anybody that I wanted to do this because I felt that my family or peers and stuff would not really say like, yeah, man, that's dope. No, they're going to say, you can't rap. You don't make music. What you do? What you got? Like, nah, man, why are you doing all that? Because that happened to me before with my family, with certain people, like with other things I dedicated to myself at a younger age. So that was something I had to really protect to become who I am now, man. Protect my dream, protect my passion. But then by the time I started recording music over time. You know, I recorded with beats that I made, beats with some other people I knew. And I even remember in high school, there was a rally. A rally is when you get everybody together in the gymnasium. And I performed. I didn't tell nobody. I had the song called Choices. It was like, gotta make choices in my life. That was the chorus. And I remember just performing a song in front of everybody in the school. And it was pretty incredible because I was a little chubbier. And, you know, imagine two bleachers, left and right. And, you know, normally what people would do is they would sit kind of in the back and kind of, you know, sing and look at everybody, right? Me, I was like, nah, I want to engage with the crowd. You know, I want to be in that. So I was like running. I was out of breath. I was running from left to right, back and forth. And the song was like a fast rap verse kind of song. So I was like going left and right, left and right, left and right, left and right. And by the time, you know, there was two takes because we had two of the rallies. And I remember the first one, I was out of breath. The second one, I was all right, let me chill a little bit, you know, and with a wired mic, by the way. But it was incredible. You know, a lot of people talked about it after that. And the whole school knew I rapped, I guess, right? And I even had like this girl I had a crush on for a while in the past. And like, I never talked to her at the time. And then like one time we're like in the lunch line grabbing burgers or something. And she's like, oh, that was you? Oh, I saw that. You know, you made that? You wrote that? I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, that's me. You know, that was it, you know, nothing ever happened after that with that particular situation. But that was the first start of me really wanting to do this. And you got to protect it. You got to protect your dreams, man. You got to protect it. So that was my mythology. And going even a little deeper on that, right? I had to protect who I was, my uniqueness, because I always, since I was young, was a little bit outcast, right? I grew up in Los Angeles, California, you know, Lawndale, Hawthorne, South Bay. And I was an immigrant from Brazil, came at 5 years old with my whole family. So we were kind of in that culture shock, adapting to a new culture and all these things. So that was something that, you know, took a while to adapt. And even within my own family, you know, fighting was always there in martial arts, and I did it, and I even dedicated myself to it a lot, but it was never like, I never felt like this is my calling, like this is what I want, right? So with time, I found something that I could dedicate myself towards, and it's been a fun journey so far. Yeah. So that's it, man. I tell anybody, protect your dreams, man. Protect what you want, and protect your authenticity and who you are.
What emotion lives closest to your heart, even when you are silent?
What emotion lives closest to my heart? Interesting. Even when you're silent. Well, the first word that comes to my brain is not really an emotion, but it's liberation, freedom, right? I remember being a little kid too, like mad that I wasn't an adult. You know, and then when you're an adult, you want to be a kid. But, you know, because I wanted to have freedom. I wanted to go outside, do what I wanted, right? When I was a little kid, my family kept me out the streets because they thought I might get arrested and get sent back to Brazil or something, you know. So I was in the gym a lot. But I remember just always having it's something in my spirit. And if I can tap into what emotion does freedom evoke in me, it would be joy, right? Joy would be the emotion, I would say. And it goes back to even when I was a young child, when I was a baby, my family often tells me that I was a kid with a lot of joy. I would light up a room, just change the energy. And then throughout my life, I kind of had moments of more of a dark time. And that spark, that light, that flame was always in me, though. And I think as I get older now, again, I'm rediscovering that light and that joy. So I think that's the emotion that's really closest to me. Even though sometimes I may dwell in darkness, sadness, anger, you know, we're human. We have all emotions, but joy is really the emotion that it's most right here, you know, closest to my heart. Yeah.
What will you never sacrifice, no matter the opportunity?
What will I never sacrifice, no matter the opportunity? Well, I think we sacrifice a lot for opportunity, right? For our livelihood, money, everything, even for my dreams. But one thing I won't sacrifice is my morals, right? And we all have different spectrum of morals. And I have an interesting perspective on morals. Give you an example. Let's say we're fighting in a war, and you're on one side, I'm on this side, right? From my perspective, you're bad, I'm good. From your perspective, you're good and I'm bad. So, and history is often told by the victors. So morality is something you got to be careful with, right? So when I say morals, I mean just certain things that I would not compromise or do, right? I don't do well with things that kind of don't really end up benefiting others. I have done many things in my life for, finances, and experimented with different things to pay the bills, so to speak, right? To get some capital for funding my dreams. That was always my vision. It was never like, oh, I want to do this. It was always like, let me do this to get some cash so I could lock in on this. And I think that the universe has an interesting way of guiding you in the direction that you need to go and doing what you really need to do and using your gifts to the maximum potential. So I gotta lock in on this that I'm doing now, being a creator. And who knows what that'll expand to, right? It might expand to, I always want to do acting, maybe, maybe I'll do some other creative works, open up other businesses. We'll see what happens. But right now it's the focus is this, what I'm creating here, music and digital media. And that's what I'm really locked in on, right? So that's the one thing I won't sacrifice, man, is my faith, right? My morality. I don't want to, I want to help more than I hurt. That's basically it. Try and do more good than bad. It's all we can do. Nobody's perfect. And I definitely, well, I'm a little close to perfect, I'm just kidding. But, we all try our best. So, keep me accountable, because temptations, man, they come and they tempt you with what you want the most. So, but I can't sacrifice that. Everything else I sacrifice, though. My own well-being, short-term pleasure, all the negative things, all the things that don't really bring you actual real joy, I'm willing to sacrifice. But certain things, like those things I spoke of, are a no-go for me. Yeah.
When did you realize the normal path wasn't made for you?
Yeah, a normal path, huh? Yeah, normal path was never made for me since my birth. I was born, I was born to, my mom was like 16, my dad was a little older, and they weren't married. And, there's a lot of talks of me being aborted, actually, right? So I guess you could say I survived that, but thanks to my father and God and, the family. And so from the beginning, my life is not normal, right? From that perspective, it's not a normal path. And my family are entrepreneurs. I was born in Petropolis, Rio de Janeiro. My dad, when I was 5 years old, moved to Los Angeles to create more opportunities for the family and, live the American dream, so to speak, right? And it's like nothing is normal, right? Already at the beginning. So I knew it probably when I was like around that same time when I told you I discovered this passion. Like I knew I wasn't destined for a normal life. I remember being around that age and everybody's probably concerned with partying and entertaining and dating and all this stuff. And I couldn't sleep at night. I was so stressed. Well, like, what am I gonna do with my life? I was like, what am I gonna do? And figured it out. And I'm still doing it, right? So we going strong. So yeah, normal path was never for me, man. If you made stand out, why blend in? I ain't trying to be an NPC. I'm a playable character, man. I create my own custom character. I live my life like an RPG video game. So, except in this game, we roll the dice with our genetics and everything and our circumstance, and we play the cards we're dealt. But yeah, man, I'm locked in on the unnormal path. I don't even like the idea of being normal. I mean, sometimes you want to fit in, you feel a little outcasted, but I don't like the idea of being normal, right? I mean, if you want to be excellent, that means you are going to have to rise above average and normal. And that's what's aligned for me. So I've just accepted that this is the path I must go on. Yeah, normal life. That ain't for me, man. That ain't for me. It's in my genetic code, man. It's in my DNA. Yeah.
What are you becoming that no one can see yet?
Well, I'm constantly evolving, right? That's what I'm becoming that no one can see. I'm constantly evolving into the best version of myself. And I encourage everyone to do the same. Constantly evolving to the best version of myself. Constantly trying to learn, one up myself and grow and improve mentally, physically, spiritually, in every aspect, relationships, with everything. You get wiser with time and you learn. And that's what it's about. And even like this game right here, it's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that goes on. It's a lot of time and energy that goes into creating music, creating all types of art, filming, videos, everything. It takes a lot of effort, but everything takes effort, right? So you just got to get locked in, man. That's the most important thing. But that's who I'm becoming. I could tell you right now, I'm going to be the number one artist. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. I have these ideas. I keep them in the back of my mind. But what's most important is that I'm locked in on my mission, and I continue to evolve and make progression. Progression, not regression. That's what we about.
What do you want people to feel when they listen to your music?
What do I want people to feel when they listen to my music? Well, it depends on the song, right? So I make songs on various emotions. For example, I got this song called Vitória, which is victory in Portuguese. It's a song, it's a great record that I'm about to release. Shot a dope video, man, in Rio in the favelas. It was incredible. And we were in Rocinha, the biggest favela in Rio de Janeiro. And man, we shot a movie out there, man. We got some incredible work coming. So like the artwork's right behind me right here. And man, that song is something I've been trying to do for a very long time, which is a mix of different genres. I produce as well, right? So this song is all my production. I got my boy playing the violin on it, Eric. Oh my God, it's incredible. So the song is called Vitória, which means victory. And the hook's like victorious, glorious. So what emotion I want people to feel when they listen to that song, for example, I want them to feel victorious. I want them to feel like they can do anything. I want to feel like whatever feeling, maybe joy, but triumph, whatever the feeling is of like, man, we did it. We made it. That's what I want people to feel with that record. But it depends on the song. I have another song that's not out yet in Spanish, actually, called Intoxicado. That song is about a toxic relationship, and it's a little melancholy, but it's also a little inspirational. It's like I'm moving on from this. It's kind of like being conscious of the problem. And it's layers to it because I'm not just talking about like a relationship with somebody. I'm talking about my relationship with myself, with God, with my career, with my passions, my dreams. It's very layered in that way. Also, going in the direction sonically that I'm building. And I have other songs. I have a song called Wake Up. It's about waking up, I want you to feel like you just wake up out of bed and you just woke up from the dream of the Matrix, right? And you breaking out. I have a song called Immortal. When I want people to listen to that, it's like, I want you to feel like you immortal. Like, man, you're going to live forever. Like, you got this. Like, you're going to just feel like you can do anything. And I got many different records, and every record invokes a different type of emotion or emotions. Because I'm human. We're all human, right? We feel all emotions: anger, jealousy, happiness, joy, pain, sadness, everything. The whole spectrum, the whole color spectrum we feel. So I'm just trying to evoke whatever emotion is relevant to the story and the vibe that is in that particular song, right? So that's really what is the emotion that I want people to feel. And overall, though, with my overall vibe is I want people to be inspired for sure. Even if there's like a negative emotion, there's some inspirational. Even if there's some pure entertainment, maybe it's laughter. And laughter is good. Laughing to me is an uncontrollable smile. So sometimes just making people laugh is worth it as well. Sometimes just a vibe that people can dance to and spread joy. I think ultimately, though, moving in the future, I want people to feel a little more joy with my music. Because in the past, like I put out a record called Sombra, which was shadow in Portuguese, which the whole project was representing my shadow. Parts of me that I didn't want to talk about, even songs that I didn't want to put out that I had for a while. Had a hard drive that broke with all my songs for years of work gone. And I was able to save these records and some new ones that I created in that time, in my time here in my home country in Búzios in Brazil. So that, it's already out. But that was like an expression of that point in my life. And moving forward, it just depends on what emotion I'm feeling. So, and if I do a good job, it connects, right? You feel something when you take in what I created. Yeah.
What's the hardest thing about this path that no one prepares you for?
Hardest thing. The hardest thing that no one prepares you for? Well, the truth is, no one prepares you for anything. even just life itself. We're not prepared for this life, man. None of us are. We're all here on our first journey, right? At least that we can remember. Perhaps I have a past life. I always believe I do. I believe I was like a prince in a past life who misused his power, so now he's paying for that. That's, you know. And I also have a other past life where I was a warrior. Who knows if that's actually true? But we are here, and we're all learning. No one is prepared for nothing. Everybody tries to act like they got it all figured out. Let me tell you something. Nobody has it figured out. Everybody's just figuring it out as we go. And that's beautiful. That's okay. Because imagine if you knew what was going to happen. That'd be boring. Then the adventure is no fun. You already seen the movie. Why go through it? I think we have to learn to step into the fear. So the hardest thing is just the things that you don't expect. Yeah, like especially with music and stuff, there's so much things behind the scenes that you got to learn about the game. You got to learn about creating it, marketing, and promoting, and blah, 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 blah. There's so much stuff. And I'm still learning. But the most difficult thing is believing in yourself. Like it can be easy. The hardest thing imaginable in life, if you change your perception is reality, and you change that, you can make it really easy, actually. Tell yourself it's easy. Watch it become easy. Doesn't mean effort won't be involved, but it mentally may be a little different with how you manage it. So that's the hardest thing, is believing yourself when everybody's telling you no, when everybody around you is like, nah, it's not gonna work. Nah, no, blah, go get a job, go do this, go do that, blah, blah, blah. Everybody trying to tell you how to live your life. So the hardest thing is to say no, cut out distractions. I'm locked in. Tunnel vision. That's the most difficult thing to do, I would say. But maybe it's easy. You know, maybe I got to take my own words into account. But it's very difficult in my experience, through my life experience, that mentally, emotionally. But I've matured a lot recently, and I've learned to not really care about other people's opinions. You know, just execute and watch what happens.
What does success actually mean to you? Not the industry definition, but yours.
Success is an interesting word, right? What it means to me is, look, success, I have various levels to this. I'll tell you the 3D level, the three-dimensional world success for me. I mean, hey, Brazilian billionaire has a nice ring to it. Brazilian American billionaire has got a nice ring to it. I like that. And I'm a capitalist. You know, I want to succeed. I want to have material possessions. I do want these things. Now, I don't want them so much that I'm like, oh, I need it, right? It's just, why not? This life is like a video game. Why not have the coolest weapon and the coolest car? And, you know, it's like Grand Theft Auto, right? I want the big house. Why not? For me, a success is this. Even in the 3D material world, success is this. I want to do what I want, when I want, with who I want, how I want, every day. And I will fight for that freedom. I will fight for that success. If I say right now I want to go to Greece, I want to go to Italy, you know, come on, babe, let's rock, let's take a flight, let's go. You know, I want to do a show here. I want to do a movie with this guy. I want to do a collab with this person. I want to date that girl. I want to go to that restaurant. I want to, whatever it is, drive that car, fly that plane, you know, whatever it is, go to Mars. I want to be able to do it. And capital is a tool for that, but so are many other things. So I would love to do that, and that would be success, right? To be able to do that. What I want, with who I want, when I want, how I want. Again, it goes back to what I said earlier, freedom. Now, I'll elaborate on the success. On the spiritual side, success for me is a little different, right? For me, success would be helping, raising up, evolving the human race and myself. And through my actions, through my life, through living a life of excellence and greatness to the best of my ability and continue to evolve, I hope that that may spread and also evolve other people and humanity. Like, that would be success for me, from a more spiritual, metaphysical kind of perspective, right? In the three-dimensional world, in the physical world, to be material things, power, conquest, all these things, and being able to impact people with my music, all that stuff. It's all wrapped up in a nice little pretty box. But when it comes to the other side of things, I just want to share joy and uplift and liberate myself and others. That's success to me. And that starts one day at a time.
How do you want to be remembered as a person, not an artist?
How would I like to be remembered? Well, as a person. Well, as a person, I would just like to be remembered as somebody who helped evolve humanity, helped evolve us on this planet, and maybe beyond this planet. And I hope that when my time here is done, I helped, even if just 0.01%. I mean, we're all just going to be a blimp in history, right? I plan to make my mark here, but that's what's important, man. We got to evolve. I want to evolve myself and evolve humanity. And I hope that through my actions, through my life, through my journey that I'm sharing here with y'all, and through this music thing, and who knows where this will expand to in the future, I believe that by me living my life to the best of my ability and achieving greatness and helping more than I hurt, I believe that through that process, I might inspire somebody else and in turn evolve all of humanity, right? Like I said earlier, I'm a capitalist, but I have this a concept of like conscious capitalism. I think capitalism was kind of like I capitalize and they lose, but we got to come to a point where it's like, let's create win-win situations. So even with my life, I'm trying to win, trying to dominate. You know, I'm a nice guy, but when you're swimming with sharks, you got to show them you got teeth too. And I'm hungry for blood, just like everybody else. You know what I mean? We out here competing in a friendly way, of course. Sometimes it's not friendly. It just is what it is. The world is dark, right? But we got to be the light. I got an old song called Light in the Darkness, and that's what I hope to be. If I can be the light in this dark world, even just a bit, just to brighten it up a little bit, just to evolve us a little bit more, that'd be great. It could be one person, or we could scale it up to millions of people or billions. Who knows what my life destiny is completely, right? You know, my fate is sealed, and I just got to keep going. And with time, we'll see what happens. But that's how I hope to be remembered. That's how I hope to be remembered. And if I'm just a guy to entertain you for a little bit, that's cool too. We all in this thing called life together. Let's get the most out of it. I hope to finish my time here and evolve into the next dimension and fulfill my mission on this short time period called life. That's what it's about. Yeah.